It's technically still winter. Let's talk about Winterberry. This is Shady Bonsai. Hey everyone, welcome back to Shady Bonsai. It's been a few months since I've posted. Much like my trees, I have been in winter dormancy, not doing a lot of bonsai stuff while my trees were sleeping, but it's time to start waking up the channel again because the world is waking up around us here. It is technically still winter. It's February, mid-February, and I'm outside in a sweatshirt. It's 50 degrees today. It was 50 degrees yesterday. We're having a big warm-up. Now, a lot of people, if you're keeping your trees outside, they're not doing a whole lot yet, although I can see around the neighborhood I'm looking, I've seen some swelling buds on some of the maple trees out there, and probably especially, I'm guessing the ones I'm seeing way back over there are probably silver maples. They tend to kind of start swelling their buds sooner than other species of maple around here in Minnesota. But we're getting close to maple syrup season. And so, I mean, the trees are starting to wake up outside. That's been happening earlier and earlier with global warming. So toward the end of February here is when the trees do start to wake up outside. So the trees that are in my greenhouse here are certainly starting to wake up. I have some little leaves that are just starting to peek out. I've been having to vent the greenhouse in the winter to keep it cold because there's been some days where it was 35 degrees outside, but it was 50 degrees in the greenhouse just because it is, you know, it has so much solar gain. I've also had some days where I had to heat the greenhouse because it was, 20 degrees below 0 Fahrenheit, which is about 50 degrees colder than I want it. There's naturally, it's always warmer in there, but I had to have the heater kick on a few times to keep it right around that 35 degrees is where I try to keep it all winter. So this species here is Winterberry. I bought this last summer, but I didn't have a chance to even, show it here on the channel or talk to you guys about it. This particular one is Ilex verticillata. It's also a variety known as Afterglow. Now, in the bonsai world, there is, Ilex, you guys have to say, is like our hollies. And the Japanese holly, the Japanese version of Winterberry, is used for bonsai, but this is a native species in North America, and very little has been done with this. I actually had this on my list. I was kind of see what is available locally that is native, that can tolerate shade, which is, again, what this whole channel is about. And I had this on my list, and then I heard someone talking, I think maybe it was Andrew Robson, on one of his shows, talking about what are some of those species that people just aren't using in North America that we need to start developing more. And this is one of the ones that he mentioned. And I was like, great, I already had it on my list. It was already on my radar. I'm gonna go get one. This one is okay. This isn't like amazing material. Again, it's really just to see how does this grow in my microclimate? How does it grow in my yard? How do I like this species? It's got a couple interesting things, some interesting roots. This is one of the very few that they had at the garden center to pick up, so I didn't have a whole lot to choose from. But I'm going to do a big chop on this today and talk about what kind of what's going on. Let's get in closer and take a look. Okay, so take a look at these roots here. This sort of caught my eye of the ones that were available to purchase was these two roots coming out, which are pretty interesting. Sadly, nothing on this side. I thought maybe there'd be something else hiding under the soil. I could barely see these peeking out. I have dug around in here a little bit with a chopstick here, and I'm just not seeing or even really feeling anything under there. So the root situation is pretty one-sided, which I don't love, but I think having them, kind of toward the front does provide some visual interest, even if we're a little lacking in the root department on the back. But again, this isn't a specimen tree. This is just something I'm messing around with. So these are kind of fun. Now, one of the problems here with this particular tree, if you want to call it a tree, it's a shrub, is that here's the soil level, here's my first, division, and then it comes up here. This section right here is actually longer than this. So already that's the inverse of what I want. I really would want this section to be shorter than this. And then the next sections up are even longer. This one does not really fork until here, and really it's way off, way up here. Look at all the little leaves falling. Incidentally, there's still green leaves on here. They do hold on to their leaves a little bit through the winter, but some of these, like if I just even shake this tree, you'll see it's like fall, they all start to fall off. So they're not well attached. They're not really doing a whole lot for the tree anymore. If you'll notice also on here, there's these white lines. One of the things that I like to do in the winter is go into the greenhouse there and just look and think about, I wasn't gonna cut it right then and there, but you know, where would I cut this if I was gonna cut it? I think I'm gonna have to on this one just accept that this is longer than this, and it might be okay. This is not okay. This is really big. So this white line is where I want to cut this and hope to pop some buds out somewhere down in here. All these little tiny dots on here, there are some little spots where buds could grow. So, you know, we're going to cut off here today. We're going to cut off here. We're going to cut off here, and either here or here. That's a decision I need to make. So let me back the camera up a little bit and we'll make those cuts. All right, jumping in here, we're going to start making some of these big cuts on here. Big cut coming up. This is going to be a much smaller tree when we are done. We'll come right in here. This one, boom, that's coming off. Okay, I'm also going to come over here on this one, right on that white line that I chalked in earlier, coming off. The big central one, this is the biggest, thickest piece on here. Boom, coming off. And now I have a decision to make over here. Do I want to cut like right here, which was my original line, which I kind of like the height of that, or do I want to try to save this little branch right here, which could, you know, become, you know, a new branch on here and actually become where all the energy goes. And this is dead. I'll take that off. Could provide some taper. Well, I can do either one. I'm going to start with the top one and to see how it looks here. See what I think about that. I could always take it off later. Leave a little bit of a stub there for some dieback. Okay. So if this eventually got brought up, you know, that could be kind of interesting, right? So I think I'm going to leave it there. I will seal these up, but you can see we have the start of a little tree there. Let's zoom in on it here. So as you can see, this is much smaller than what we started with. This is maybe 6 inches high from here to right up here at the top. And this was, you know, 2 feet higher. So we took a ton off here, but proportionally, this is starting to look more like the basic structure of a tree. The proportions were just all off before. So now maybe this is going to go up. Maybe this becomes a branch to the side. It's going to depend on what pops out of here this spring, kind of how we proceed. You know, if I like this is blocking our view there. If I turn this a little bit, suddenly I'm getting some depth there. Don't know if I want these roots sticking out that way or if I want them out, you know, can we come over from back in here somewhere? I don't really like those poking out at me. I think we're probably going to be somewhere in here, very tentatively as a front, but I'm very curious to see what happens with this, how this progresses over the course of the spring and the summer. So that's it. That is all I'm doing today. I've already made a few other little trims on a few other things in the greenhouse that we'll be seeing later on. I've got some projects coming up this spring, making a forest out of some of the material that I purchased last fall or last summer. So there's some cool stuff coming up on the channel. It'll slowly start waking up. You see, we still got some snow on the ground. It hasn't quite all melted off today, but where I'm standing, there's no snow up on the roof. These trees are gonna start waking up soon, so I'm excited to see what the season has to bring. Thanks everybody for hanging out with me here today, and we'll see you next time here at Shady Bonsai.